these guys are finally done. Now these guys are my Necrons for my 500-point list for King of the Colosseum. And I was so excited to finally finish these guys. And they turned out pretty well. Hey everyone, my name is Jessica, and this is The Boss's Stash, a channel where I work on my Warhammer models, just completely trying to demolish my backlog. And for this video, I want to show you guys this. This is my 500 points Necron army. Now, I'm not too much of a XENOS player, but the Necrons just look so cool to me. Now, this was pretty refreshing since the Raptors I painted last week took quite a bit of time out of me, and honestly, I needed something easy and fun to paint. Now, originally I had wanted to paint my Combat Patrol for my Sisters of Battle, but for some reason when this paint scheme came to me, I really was compelled to paint my Necrons. And I know Necrons aren't supposed to be heavily weathered. I did get some questions about why they are, but I wanted to do it anyways. Now these guys are going to be used for the King of the Colosseum by Play on Tabletop. You have 500 points, you need a character as your Warlord, you need at least 2 infantry, no units higher than toughness 9, and no repeating datasheets unless they're Battleline. So here's my 500 points. So here they are, my 500 points of Necrons. Now breaking it down, I've got 10 Immortals, 3 Skorpek Destroyers, a Hexmark, 1 Skorpek Lord, and 1 Overlord with Translocator Shroud. Definitely a respectable 500 points. I got this list from Reddit. Unfortunately, I could not find the original author of the list, but I appreciate you posting your Necron list. Now this list has a lot of favorite models of mine within it, which is why I instantly picked it. I really love the Hexmark. It is my favorite Necron model. Next up is the Skorpek Destroyers. I really like how weird and alien they look despite being still humanoid. And of course the Immortals and Overlord are still a nice touch. Now that I've shown you guys my list and how they look, let me tell you guys how I painted these models. But first, let's talk about how I came up with this scheme and why I was really compelled to paint these guys like this. So I really wanted a weathered army, something that would look terrifying on the tabletop. Now, I could paint some Chaos Space Marines or Space Marines alone, but I definitely wanted a XENOS faction, just so I can break away from the monotony of my Space Marine painting. And I did have a few Necrons left, namely the Overlord with Translocator Shroud, Skorpek Destroyers, and Hexmarks, leaving me to 3D print the Skorpek Lord and 10 Immortals. And I gotta say, these guys blend in pretty well. Now, as for the paint scheme, I wanted to use the dry brush method. It's a quick and easy way to get away with heavily weathered and textured effects. And for these guys, I wanted them to look like they were coming out of the sand dunes of the tomb world that they were in, just waking up from their slumber after millennia of sleep. So for the priming of the models, I tried out a new tool, which is the Hyro Paints Airbrush Acrylic Primer, combined with the Display Wash-Free Airbrush. Now I'm still playing around with these tools, but I gotta say, I really like the ease of use that the Display Airbrush gives. And it worked pretty well with the primer I was using. So for this, I decided not to zenithal prime, which is what I usually do. Just get straight black primer into a base coat. Now, as for the base coat, I used a Hull Red for the initial coat, and then a zenithal of Burnt Red, which is a deep darker red. This gives me a good foundation for the next step, since the reds are supposed to represent the planet's dust and weathering. So you might be asking, Necrons are silver, how come you're painting them red? Which leads me to my next step, the dry brushing. I used a bright silver for this, and an old makeup brush. And I proceeded to just dry brush everything, hitting just the raised edges, while trying to figure out the sweet spot between too much silver and too little. And I gotta say, the results are kind of varied with my experimentation, but I'm pretty happy with the general result. These guys came out weathered because the dry brush tends to hit the raised edges with the silver, while leaving the crevices of the sand red we want as the weathering. And I gotta say, they look pretty good. I hit some of these guys with a second pass just to brighten them up a little bit more, since they didn't read too well as silver. And overall, I was even more happy after the second pass of silver. Time for the iconic Necron glow. And for this, I'm using a contrast paint. Now to achieve the glow, all I had to do was paint the parts I wanted glowing white, and then covering it with the green contrast paint. So for this, I used an Armored Komodo Titanium White, which is a brighter white, although a bit chalkier, and the mix of Hyro Paint's Rampage Green and Armored Komodo's Mandragora Flesh, since I didn't have the exact green I wanted. Now I was playing with the ratios, and I found that the 1:1 is almost there. I just had to put in a little bit more of the Hyro Paint's Rampage Green. I failed to wait for the white paint to dry up for some of the models, and it tended to mix with the green, completely ruining some of the effect. So for this, I had to repeat the process of covering it up with white for the parts that failed, and then covering it up with the green contrast paint. And there you have it. These guys are almost done. And I gotta say, they look really cool as is already, but there's still one more step I had to do to really finish up the paint job. Now, we did an initial dry brush step earlier, which tends to hit some of the bases. So some of the silver has hit the sand on the basic, which doesn't read too well, and it looks kind of messy. And for this, I used an airbrush using the same deep red to give it one last pass on the bases. I wasn't too afraid to hit the legs, since we'll make it look like that the Necrons are part of the bases. And there you have it. This paint scheme was so fast for me. I was really happy. It did not tire me out. And for the amount of work I did, I'm really happy with the results. These guys look weathered, menacing, and then do they look fantastic when I look at them as a whole. Now, I'm hoping these guys perform well enough in King of the Colosseum. I'm not too good at the game yet, but this list looks like it has a bit of teeth. Plus, there's also the gratifying part that the list actually looks like something the Necrons would field. But let me know in the comments down below what 500 points list you want me to build for my next King of the Colosseum. But that's it for now. I hope you guys liked the video, and if you did, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of my YouTube content. I'm trying to grow this channel up to 1,000 subscribers. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!